My spot.
That's it. Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's here at 6, so I was half an hour already.
Just wanted to make an entrance.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, well, if I'm gonna go back home again, I'm gonna stay for at least a half.
Would you like me to call him?
No, because we have it for him, his responsibility.
I'm just going back to you.
Yeah, you might go live on the lake, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean,
Good. Gosh, I've not been doing that.
I did.
holiday just treat you reasonably well so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, but my boobs and something. I'll take her, cause I look like one whole day standing in front of my computer at work.
Hey, Rob.
It's over there, I used to be able to do it. There's some complaint.
I'm not Robert Fisher with.
You just get bounced around. Yeah, maybe your kid said something.
Yeah, I saw it.
I liked your kids, they were funny.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them very much.
they're a handful.
But just all of them for it, you know?
Really. Your grandkids.
Rob's handing out financial support before we get started.
Thank you.
Pretty much.
Go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:30. Let's do the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looks like we have a full house, so we're good. Do we have anybody signed up for? It looks like Judy.
Yeah, it's on the wrong sheet, but.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'm just somebody.
Do you want me to sign on the right sheet? Yeah, this is just for the public hearing. Are you gonna speak at the public hearing?
I hope to be gone by then.
Okay, gosh.
Yeah, me too.
All right then, we'll go ahead and have you come on up, Judy, and then if you can,
It's actually, we're a team.
you're a team tonight, okay. I didn't know for sure. I saw you Kai's name on the bottom. I was like, well, is he? Oh. All right, come on up. If I could get you to state your name and address for the record.
Yep.
Good evening, I'm Micaiah Bunn. My address is 2650 Southeast Locks Road in Dayton. I am the president of the DCDA, and I'll hand it over to.
My name is Judy Gerard and I'm 305 Main Street here in Dayton. I'm the secretary treasurer for the DCDA, the Downtown Dayton Group.
So we just wanted to come here this evening, just say a thank you for partnering with us over the last 11 years. Together, we've done a number of great things. And as you know, the Dayton Friday night is one of our big things that we are able to accomplish for our community together. I'm going to go ahead and hand out some flyers here for you. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna have Judy basically review some of the statistics that together we've been able to accomplish just within this last year.
So how many of you were at Dayton Party Nights this year? Excellent, excellent, excellent. And if you were at Dayton Friday Nights, you might have seen one of us going around the park about 7 o'clock with a clicker. And what we're doing at that time is we're counting the number of people that are in the park. And we do it at 7 o'clock, and then we check in with the businesses, see how many people are in the businesses. And we want to know at that point in time in the evenings, who's there. That's one of the data pieces that goes into this report. This report is done with an audience survey that is done 2 nights in August. Ukiah and others hand out a survey to the people that are there. They don't need a pen or pencil to answer the survey. They rip spots on the piece of paper that are handed out to show what their answer is. We collate that information and do a bunch of math to get this report here. And we also have some, as well as the data point that we do at 7 o'clock, we have some other things that we track during the evening as well. So kind of with that as a background of how do we figure this out? That's how we figure it out. So this year we had about 4,849 people that came to Dayton Friday Nights. That's kind of add it all up, and that's about what it was. And on average, then that means 10 nights we had about 489 people there. We had a low of 185 on the day that they threatened it was going to rain by 6 o'clock. And the cars didn't come out and the people didn't come out, but 185 people did show up and had a great time. It was an excellent band that night, so they missed a lot. In our high was Old Timers Weekend, so congratulations to you for an excellent band, or the gentleman that played country western that night was excellent. And that was our high night, which is often the case with old timers. On average, we had 22 vintage vehicles that were there parked on 4th Street, and that comes and goes depending on what's happening in McMinnville with the cars, or the cruise McMinnville, or the county fair and things like that. But on average, we had about 22 old cars that were there, and people really enjoy wandering around and taking a look at those. We estimate from the information that the people that responded to the survey said that about $64,381 was spent over the course of the summer by people that came to Dayton Friday Nights. Where did they spend that? Mostly they spend it on eating, which is good. Which is good because that means they're spending money in our local restaurants, or they're spending money with local food trucks, or the 2 food trucks that are from out of town. And when we do the math, it represents about $10.83 that is returned to us for every dollar that you and DCDA spend to put this show on. So that's a pretty good return on the money that is invested. Ukiah and I are 2 of the 18 volunteers that show up. We have a crew that comes, mix and match crew that comes every Friday to help set it up, take it down, make sure everything goes okay, in conjunction with our wonderful Public Works employees that come and help us out. I think Eric was the first night and Justin was the other nights, and he was absolutely fantastic through the whole summer. Very attentive to the needs of the crowd and to the needs of DCDA. And then, you know, when you do the math and you go, okay, if we had to pay to put this on, how much might it cost? Well, on the low end of the scale, it might cost about $9,000 to put on a show like this if we had to hire the help to do it. And it could cost more than that, but that's the kind of the value of the volunteers bring to this. We ask our vendors on the last Friday, the ones that are there, how would you rate this in terms of economic value to you to have been here this summer? And they give us a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, and then we also ask them, you know, in terms of how much you sold, kind of give us a figure of, you know, on average, what was your general night take? And so we get that information as well. So generally, it's in the middle and ground. It's good for vendors. It's not fantastic for vendors, although some vendors do say it was fantastic. Some of them say, eh. And in the middle, it's okay. Okay, glad we're here. Many vendors will say, as we go around and check with them every Friday, and how's it going tonight? Well, you know, sales are a little slow, but I really like being here. This is really cool. Like the music tonight, it's really great. So they're happy to be there, but you know, we're in the middle on economic value for them. And you know, in terms of the information that they report to us, about half the sales are between $1 and $50, and the other half are between $50 and beyond $100. Then we take a look at, well, so where's the audience come from? And as you can see here, most of them are coming from Dayton and within 5 miles of Dayton. And it's interesting on the survey, those that did have a pencil or a pen would say they lived on Neck Road. And my perception was that Neck Road was like inside Dayton, but you know, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe parts of it aren't, I don't know. But anyway, we figured within 5 miles of Dayton, people figure they're from Dayton. So 48%, I got my glasses on, is 46%, let's say that they're from Dayton. And I'm sorry, 26 from Dayton, 28 from less than 5 miles outside of Dayton. So you do the math on that, and that's over half of the people are from around here. The other half come from outside of Dayton, from Salem, from McMinnville, from lots of different places. The residents of our vendors, and rather than look at the few vendors that were there on the last night, I went back and looked at of all the vendors that said they wanted to be at Dayton Friday nights, which is 54 vendors who applied to attend. Where were they from? And 42% were from Dayton, and the rest were a mix and match. Some from Portland, some from McMinnville, some from Newburgh, some from other Yamhill County places. And that's sort of been this, I'd say that's similar to all the other years that we've had vendors at. On the other side, we ask people whether they are happy with Dayton Friday nights or not happy. And generally speaking, this year, 90% were very happy and 9% were somewhat happy, which is pretty good. 99% and above, you know, got a happy word in it. 1% saw some improvement that could be done. Audience comments, those that do have a chance to write, fun, small town feeling, love this music, and that was reported to us every week. Every week, somebody told us that this band is my favorite. So everyone really enjoys the concerts that we have. Like the family-friendly environment for all ages and love seeing the kids play and having fun. The vendors say we love the people and the community, the civic pride, the meeting and talking with others. They like being able to come and being close to the folks that walk by. And many of them are just appreciative of the opportunity to come. So as we take a look at, okay, so we had a great time. We have 1% that said, you know, there's some improvement that could be done. So we step back from that and go, you know, there are things that we've seen over the year or the last couple of years that we'd like to see a little bit different too. So as we step back and look at that, there's 4 things in particular that we'd like to look at doing differently this coming year. One, we continue to want to be a strong support for the businesses around the park. And some of the businesses that we talked to about that have a feeling in relation to that. You get food trucks or food vendors, the people that sell food in the brick and mortar, like, oh, that. But our audience wants to have more places where they can get a grab and go. So we are going to take a look at other ways that we can, you know, be supportive of not only the audience, but the brick and mortar folks, and talk more about how can we be supportive of you. Increase the younger audience. Our audience continues to be mostly over 60. And that's okay, because, you know, some of us do like to come out and do things. I'm not saying that I'm over 60, but, you know, it would be nice to have a younger crowd join us as well. So we want to see what we can do to increase that number. And we'd like to have more bands with great musicians. As we look at the whole swath of the bands that we've had this last year or in the previous year, we had some really great musical groups that came and played. And we'd like to see that every single Friday's got a fantastic music group. And we want to increase the consistency of our vendor attendance. Got some ideas around how to do that, but what we do with those 54 vendors is a mix and match every week. You came and you saw yourself as you were at Dayton Friday nights, that some weeks it's a crowd of 15 and some weeks it's a crowd of 25 in terms of the vendors. So we want to see what we can do about increasing, and maybe we could have 54 vendors there every Friday. So those are some of the things that we're looking at. And there are some, Dave came and talked with us at one of our board meetings recently about him doing some fundraising, using some of the TLT dollars as a match to help get some other tribute type bands. So we're looking at talking with him about, well, so what does that look like and what do we do? Our planning for Dayton Friday nights for 2026 will start in January. We're hot and heavy around that. You have anything else you'd like to add with that?
Any questions?
I'll get something fast. It's actually not related to this in particular.
Okay.
It's more of a broad process observation and question for the future. So one thing I've noticed throughout the course of this year is a lot of the time when DCBA comes here, it's chatting in the form of public comment. I'd like to see if we can build in agenda items in maybe December and May, June, where December we have set aside time where it's like, okay, we can review, it's year in review, where, instead of, hand out in the moment where I'm trying to come up with questions really quick. It's okay, we have this so we can advance, we can write some things out, and we can have a good solid debrief over the course of 20, 25 minutes. Where we can ping some questions and have that really good dialogue. And then maybe in May, June, it's hey, this is what's coming up. And because I've noticed just over the last year, 2 years, that most of the communication direct comes in the form of public comment, but I think there's an opportunity for us to collaborate in the form of action items. That we can put more, advanced thought into our comments and questions. What do we think? Jeremy?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because this is great. I love this, and every single year when we get this, I think this is a really. There's a lot of time that goes into making this, and I want to do the justice that it deserves, and that you all deserve, of like, hey, recognizing the time that went into everything so far this year, and then into this. And asking, real substantial questions and comments, that it's being like, okay, 3 minutes, what can you come up with, go, so if we could do that, that'd be cool.
Well, we'd be happy to be invited to be an official agenda item at some point, so, but,
Yeah.
but Rocio know what your interests are and we can get it on our calendars and make it happen.
Our people will talk to your
Yeah,
people.
you betcha. Any other questions about this? Well, the other thing that I want to say has nothing to do with this. I want to say the tree lighting went really well. The weather cooperated, Santa Claus was fantastic, and the kids were so excited, as they always are, but, and the refreshments, as I mentioned to a couple of you, I thought were nicely handled in terms of how you had them strategically located, so whoever was responsible for all that, I'm sure some of Don's people were as well, excellent job. The other thing that I would say is the manner in which you have maintained the pickup of the park leaves. This particular resident really appreciates it, thank you very much. Fantastic job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Excellent. Before I ask for a motion for the consent agenda. I thought I saw on page 9, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. He had you down for roll call as an unexcused absent on October 20. I thought you were excused.
I let you all know.
Right,
Uh,
so I think it was excused.
In the meeting, it was an excuse, but if there was something.
It was.
We took a vote, we decided not to excuse.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's what I felt in the air.
I noticed that because I remember we didn't know if he was coming or not.
yeah, we had a discussion and I remember asking Jeremy, hey, did he tell us he wasn't coming? And then he went on the phone and found out that you, but by then we'd already done. Edited,
Okay,
yeah, excused, so.
Okay.
Got it.
and text delete after 30 days, so I unfortunately got. Such a weight out.
Yeah, okay, so,
That's like losing a 4.0 in school.
No,
Right.
You can't have that one you, no.
all right, so, unless anybody else has any amendments to any. Thank you.
I, if I may, I move to approve the consent agenda, including regular session minutes from October sixth, joint session with the planning commission October 9th, and special work session of October 20th. As amended.
Okay, okay, I have a motion from Councilor Mack and a second from Councilor Peterson. All those in favor?
Right.
All right, that passes. We're gonna move into our public hearings. We have, well, two. We had three, but one of them's waiting until February. So, we're gonna have the city council hold a public meeting, a public hearing to obtain public comment on the proposed adjustments to the water and sewer rates and the creation of a new public safety fee. In addition to, city council hold a public hearing to obtain public comment on the adoption of amendments to the transportation element chapter 10 of the Dayton comprehensive plan. So we're gonna start with the little script that we get to read, so. The city council will now conduct a public hearing to adopt an updated transportation
Madam
system
Mayor?
plan. Yes, ma'am.
Actually, we have to do the public hearing for the,
I asked Jared this.
so the first one, we have to open that one and then close it. So,
That's what I thought.
and
And we
then,
thought we could open it with one and do it.
Stand corrected.
Hey, we're at the 3.9 together, but.
so if you could open the public hearing
Okay.
for the first item.
We'll
and
do
then-
the first one then.
Yeah.
So, I don't have a script for that one, but I'll just repeat what I just said. The city council will hold a public hearing to obtain public comment on the proposed adjustments to the waste, the water and sewer rates and the creation of a new public safety fee, and we will open that at 6:40.
I don't have any public comment from any emails or virtual or sign in. So we'll just wait a minute in case somebody.
Two drops in. Okay. We'll close that at 6:50.
Now you can.
Okay, and on to the second here. The city council will now conduct a public hearing to adopt an updated transportation system plan as a supporting document to the Dayton Comprehensive Plan and related amendments to Title VII of the Dayton Municipal Code. The proposed changes are included in exhibits A through D of the staff report dated December 1, 2025, which the city council received as part of tonight's agenda packet. For reference, the city case file is LA 2025-02. I will now open the public hearing at 6:50. Okay. We'll go for criteria. Oh, I guess I have to read it all. Approval criteria for legislative, decision making are found in section 7.3.112 of the Dayton Land Use and Development Code. These criteria are also cited in the staff report addressed to the city council. The hearing shall be conducted pursuant to the city council's adopted rules of procedure. The following procedure will be followed for receiving the presentations. We're just gonna open it up since we got nobody here.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks.
So as you said, we're here to adopt the updated TSP into the comprehensive plan. The transportation related element of the comprehensive plan is chapter 10. Chapter 10 includes some high level policy goals and objectives, and then the actual text of the comprehensive plan is adopted by reference as appendix A as a supporting document for the comprehensive plan. Been working on this, as you know, with DKS Consulting and MIG, the consultant team, the project management team for the better part of this year. If you, I believe everyone was in attendance at the joint work session, so what we're looking at here tonight is essentially very, very similar, mostly identical to the information that was presented at that meeting.
So I'll try and stick to the actual changes. The exhibits contain the content of the transportation system plan update and also contain the strike through version of the development code amendments. Exhibit A, goes over the actual implementing, updates to the development standards, that will implement the policies, goals and objectives that are in the main document. Exhibit B is the document itself. Exhibit C is the TSP appendices, which are the technical memos that were presented to the project management team, or the project advisory committee at various intervals throughout the project. Exhibit D contains the updates to the comprehensive goals and objectives in chapter 10 that were recommended as part of the process. And then this is the second of two legislative hearings as part of the legislative process. So there were some revisions that emerged from the first hearing. Commissioner Mackin in particular had some suggestions on making sure that we were as inclusive as possible when identifying the wide range of pedestrian activities that need to be accommodated by sidewalks mainly, but other pedestrian facilities. So his comments are included in Exhibit F. And the changes that resulted from those comments are included in mainly on page 16. And they're lifted right from the language that he suggested. There's a new definition of sidewalk to make sure that when we were planning sidewalks, we're accommodating the broad range of activities that are typically accommodated by sidewalks, and a new definition of pedestrian, similarly to be as inclusive as possible. There were some minor revisions to the actual TSP document too, mainly to incorporate that broad concept of pedestrian activity in those areas where the previous version was primarily referring to walk. So those changes are summarized there. As usual, there's a sample motions on page 16 of the staff report. The recommendation is item 1, adopt the staff report. As proposed, with the changes that suggested by Commissioner Mackin, they're incorporated into this version. There's also the second action item, which is the first reading of the adopting ordinance, which is up in the staff report, but it's also appears as its own agenda item tonight. So those are the highlights of the staff report and sort of orient you to the information that's in there. With that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Carl Springer of DKS Associates, who was really the project lead, the main project manager for the project over the past year. And he's going to present once again the slightly abbreviated version
Yes.
of the presentation that,
There'll be a quiz at the end.
yeah,
No kidding.
that was presented at the joint work session.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, councilors, good to see you all. Let me say, personal note, at the beginning here, I enjoyed this process. You're a great city to work with. I enjoyed working with your staff. Just so you know, I'm retiring after the end of this month. Last
straw.
I love you, but I'm retired.
You didn't know, huh? Surprised me. Oh, well. I said a little bit about it. I've done a lot of TSPs in Oregon, so for me, this is a good way to go out.
Yeah.
It's a good experience. So I've got an abbreviated version of a presentation I think you've seen a few weeks ago, so I won't spend a lot of energy on it. If you have any questions, feel free. But those are the pieces we're going to go through. Keep going. So you should know, everybody should know the answer to this question by now, what a TSP is. Long range plan for all travelers. When I first started doing TSPs in Oregon, it was far more focused on cars and trucks than it is these days. For sure, I think it's completely flipped over almost. We're doing cars and trucks, but we're primarily doing safety and walking and biking and those kinds of things, so. It's a little bit of a different world here in Oregon than it was 30 years ago when I started. Important pieces for lining up with state and regional policies and getting your plan approved by DLCD once you do adopt. Next slide. So why does it matter to Dayton? It's a key piece to line up your decisions for investments, for competing for grants, those kinds of things. It's very important that those projects be recognized and identified in this plan. That's probably the big win. It also gives you some framework for working with development as it comes online for what the city really wants to meet its goals, gives you some very specific development code things that Kurt alluded to. It can be very handy. Next slide. The schedule, we're kind of at the end. We got this action tonight and then one more, I think early in January, if I remember right.
Yeah, just second.
Second reading.
Ordinance.
And that will be the conclusion. It's gone pretty much on schedule. And that just highlights, some of the interaction, the stages of the project, and then interaction with the public, series of events. And then we actually met with your school kids, understand some of the challenges they have getting to and from. So those projects are identified in the TSP as well. Next slide, please. We have a couple maps like this. As you can, well, you know what, and you guys all know this, but I do a lot of TSPs, and usually traffic congestion is way higher on the list than it is in Dayton. Traffic congestion is not your number one thing. It's safety and access and comfort of moving around, and that's perfectly fine. But that's the way this plan is oriented, to emphasize those things, to support those priorities. So what's highlighted here on the map is just those elements that we identify where there was questions about traffic or safety, gaps in the sidewalk, strategic gaps in the sidewalk. There's a lot of the sidewalks that aren't there, but we wanted to kind of highlight the ones that are important. And then we flagged a few cases where upgrading the crossing to the street needs to be paid attention to. Enhanced crossings. Next slide. Standards, introduce a couple standards. Let's see, what's my favorite one here? It's yeah, the last one. So as development comes in, there's a little bit of a guideline in terms of what kind of traffic study you're going to ask them to do, what that should look like, what questions it should answer. So it gives you the right kind of information as they come to you and looking for approval. They'll probably do it anyway, but it's always nice for the city to ask, the developer what they want to see. Makes that conversation a little bit more balanced that way. Next slide. So these were the projects we identified. We have a longer roster of projects than what's shown here, but emphasis here is primarily on safety and mobile. Multimodal is a word that us geeks like to use, but it's basically anything that's not a car or a truck. That's what it is. It's walking and biking and rolling and getting around, and we have a lot of those in this plan. I find that those are not only strategic to support your policies, but they're also by far, they compete well for grants. And they're also more bite-sized projects than big road projects. Big road projects can take down your capital budgeting for many years, as you well know. Next slide. So there's a list of the projects that bubbled up to the top. Now, again, this isn't something you have to do. These are just kind of an outcome of the process where we looked at the priorities and we looked at the projects that were there, and we're showing you what bubbled up to the top. And then we took the sum of those total costs and compared that to what the city's currently collecting, that monies that go towards transportation improvements. And that's the list that we had. So we have available funding over the life of the plan of roughly $4 million. given the kinds of means you're providing now. But there's a lot more projects that the city might want to do that goes beyond that funding level. So to compete for those, looks like grants are the best way to get at that. You want to accelerate getting those projects implemented, pursuing grants, it seems to be your best option at this point. And on implementation, Kurt talked about these a little bit. Consistency and TPR requirements. That's incorporated. The next one shows more specifically about what's involved. Talked about the traffic impact analysis, street spacing, block length, those kinds of things. When the swap area comes in, you can look at how they've organized their development pattern, how the streets are spaced. And you'll have some criteria to say, is this really line up with what we're looking for, or should we be asking for something different? Next slide, please. So I'll mention this kind of in closing, because the discussion of Ferry Street was a big deal in our work, but we also kind of uncovered the obvious that you can't really tackle that problem within the time frame of a TSP alone. We identified some potential solutions, we identified the need, but there's further study to be done there to help get the community to a place where they can rally around a particular design, get the business owners up to speed with what's really going on and how that'll affect them. All those conversations have to happen for success, and it's hard to do that within the little window that we have during a TSP. So we've shown us some examples in the document, but by no means are you saying, go build that project if you approve the TSP. It's just kind of foreshadowing of what's to come. All right, do I have more slides? I think that's it. Oh, I do, look at that. So just a couple thoughts there in closing. So I know as the council, funding is always an issue, and I know this city is, I think I remember early on in one of the PAC meetings, there was someone talked about how keeping the cost for the citizens down was a high priority. So it's a little bit sacrilege to be talking about raising fees to fund things faster, but that's my job as a consultant, is to give you ideas to ponder, right? So one mechanism obviously is system development charges. If you have a largest growth area, do you want to consider using a different rate so you can actually build more projects? That's a question. The other one, the last one on the list of utility fees, same kind of question. Do you want to implement a new fee program to help do things sooner than you otherwise would? So again, that's something to be done later. It's not part of the plan. So these are just ideas. I think that is the last slide, right? Yeah, there you go. All right, so that's it for me. Any questions from you all?
Any question?
Enjoy your time.
Thanks. I like that. That's good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
I did have one thing I wanted to mention though with regard to the ordinance itself, is the ordinance number 668, 688, 667, or 665, because I see all of those listed. So on the ordinance itself, it's 668 at the top, but it's 688 at the bottom. And then on 267, when it's talking about the reading, I'm assuming it's 668, but it mentions 665 and 667 in there as well. So I just due diligence, just double checking, making sure it's 668.
And there's a word missing in page 26. If anybody cares. That should have been in there.
Oh, okay.
For the word that.
So just make your motion.
If you're gonna make. I don't think it really makes any.
As corrected by.
You'd have to say as
Okay.
amended.
Yeah.
Is it 668?
668.
Excellent.
I don't know what page it comes up, yeah, we have to do the reading.
I think we're on 267.
I think we're on page 16 first, right?
No, yeah, first we're on page 16, we have to do a.
So,
Oh, 16.
I move the city council adopt a revised staff report with the following revisions, that Councilor Hover noted, and then also a revision of the ordinance within the staff report, noting that it is, ordinance 668 and not 688. And recommend the city council approve the revised amendments.
Second. Have a motion from Counselor Hildebrandt, a second from Counselor Wilkins.
I don't want to write this down.
That's a win, I gotta say.
Um, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and Chris was aye. Diggity,
Close the public hearing.
and we'll go ahead and close the public hearing if we're all done, everybody. 7:08. Right. Move on to action number one, action item number one, I should say, 267 to page 270. This would be the first reading of ordinance, was it 668? 668. Okay,
Madam Mayor,
yes,
ordinance 668, an ordinance amending the city of
May I
Dayton.
interrupt for just a moment?
Yeah,
At the bottom of that page, it says ordinance 688.
yeah, they're gonna be corrected on everything.
Oh, okay, got it.
Rocio's already doing
Oh,
it.
I see, okay, got it. That's what
We'll just cover it to make sure.
we're gonna do for.
oh no, you're good.
And true to the time.
Please, so ordinance 668, an ordinance amending the city of Dayton comprehensive plan, adopting the 2025 transportation system plan. And amending Title 7 Dayton Land Use and Development Code of the Dayton Municipal Code. I move to approve the first reading of ordinance 667 by title only. Or sorry, 668 by title. 667 in the minute. 668 title.
Second. Yeah, a motion from Councilor Hildebrandt, a second from Councilor Peterson. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And if he passes. Hey, page 271. All right. Jeremy.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. Hard to believe, but I've been here a year already.
Feels like 5.
Been a good year.
One long year. My contract requires a annual performance evaluation
We have to do this every year.
every year. This is your second most important thing next to the budget. So what I have in here is a proposed performance evaluation instrument. The idea was to simplify and streamline things compared to the 6 month. The 6 month had 30 criteria. This boils it down to 8 that I think encompass all areas of my job description from the city charter. To streamline it even further, according to the instructions, if you give other than a meets expectations for one of the criteria, I'm asking that you back that up with an example, constructive comments. If it's above average, that helps me keep the momentum up. If it's below, that gives me something to work towards. And then lastly, there are some written questions at the end. Areas where there were notable results, areas where additional focus or support is needed. And then lastly, and most importantly, what are your priorities? There's also a rubric in there to help you gauge what needs looks like, what's above, what exceeds, what needs improvement, what that looks like for each criterion. So if council approves this instrument, the plan is to complete it individually, turn it into the mayor 2 weeks before your first January meeting. That's January 5th. Right?
Yes.
So 2 weeks before January 5th. Give to the mayor She will take that information and synthesize it into a transmittal letter. The council will come together at your January 5th meeting, review the letter, talk amongst yourselves. If that looks good, you'll bring me in the executive session, we'll have to present the materials to me, we'll have a conversation. If it needs some tweaking, you'll come back at your second January meeting. Review the edits, bring me in the room, and then we'll start the process. I will also provide you a self-eval. I'm gonna give you a self-eval. I'll try to get that to you a week before, at a minimum, that you gotta turn yours into the mayor. So my self-eval will reflect over the past 12 months and it'll have a perspective next 12 months section as well. That's intended to help you. And also, as you're working on this, I would encourage you to look at past agenda packets, past memos, emails that I provided you to reflect on some of the conversations that we've had, some of the interactions that we've had out in the community. That will also help you as you work through this. So at this point, I'm just getting the council's input and hopefully your buy-in on this process.
Yes, and we are scheduled for an executive session to go over the instrument tonight, if you all want to still go over it tonight.
I would. I did kind of a rough draft. Based on the draft, I have some questions I'd like to talk about. Like, how do we know this? You
Okay,
know,
we can do that in executive session. Okay, so we'll definitely have an executive session. That's what I was thinking.
So Jeremy, I really like this, instrument. I think that's really good. I'm really glad that we're oiling it down a little bit,
So we can go over this.
so, but I just wanna confirm, so you're gonna get us your eval, what, by about 15th? Or
20
sooner?
seconds when it's due.
The 22nd is when it's due.
Okay.
Is Jeremy gonna stay present for this part of the executive session? Discuss this instrument.
Oh, we're not in an executive session right now.
Oh.
No, we're not.
It's at the end of the agenda.
By the 15th, yes,
Okay, thank you. I just want to be clear on that date.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That's great.
One question as well.
Yeah.
Is your self eval gonna be in the same format or will it be in a different format?
I'll provide it in a narrative memo format, so it'll be different.
Okay, cool, just curious. Go ahead.
All right. Yes, make a motion. I move to approve the city manager's recommended one-year evaluation process and timeline.
Second.
A motion from Councilor Peterson, a second from Councilor Hilbrandt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. We're gonna go on to page 285 for the second reading of ordinance 668.
Second reading.
Oh, no,
667.
667, sorry, yes. My apologies. I think I covered this. 79,
Thank you,
thank
Carl.
you.
Congratulations on
I
your
went
party.
through and corrected 2 minutes.
Send you a postcard. Yeah. We can't do the whole reading at the same time.
Doggone it all. All right, second reading of ordinance 667, authorizing the establishment of the public safety fee, enacting section 22 municipal code chapter 1.
Second reading?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm just telling you.
Perfect.
That's what we're gonna be
It was my
talking.
title, so it's just, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So Madam Mayor, are we making comment, still open for comment from the city council on this? whole thing?
On which whole thing?
On this ordinance?
667. Oh, well, you can make a comment, sure.
Well, with. You know, I've been reading this thing, thinking about it for a long time. And, you know, and then I did a little comparative. Look at what the other communities around here are charging for their utilities, for the water and sewer especially. And so if the current fee would put us at 500, roughly 500 cubic feet, 544, I think is what we were comparing. at 152.50 for residential in city person. And Lafayette's close to us at 125, Sheridan is at 87. McMinnville's at 107, Amity's also around 130. And it just seems like it's I'm concerned at the public growth too, because McMinnville is building in a 5% per year, but until it's canceled. Rate increase would bring us to our level in 7 years. So what we are is at the height of all the communities around here. And I've gotten comments, my house has just been on the market, and I've had comments from people who've looked at the house saying, hey, the utility rates in Dayton are crazy, we're worried they're gonna get higher. And so, I know we need the money to fund our projects and that kind of thing, but my big concern is not so much for right now. I mean, this is a big increase, and I think it's been hard for people to swallow, for the people that I know who live here in town.
Yeah.
They said, man, this is a lot of money, and it came out of nowhere. We're looking at a 20% increase in the sewer especially. And we were talking the other day about that new 50 units that's going out in Neck Road. And how we may have to pay some of the connection fees for our water and that kind of thing out there as well as a city. And I'm concerned about that too. And I'm also concerned that in 6 years' time, if we did a 5% rate increase like McMinnville's doing, 6 years' time, we're gonna have over a $200 utility bill for a lot of people. That's coupled with the fact that Dayton has a very high poverty of people that don't have a lot of money. And it really feels like it's putting an inordinate amount of the burden of carrying some of our improvements and some of the necessities of life on the people that don't necessarily have the money to really absorb those fee increases, And so there's a couple things that I was thinking, I was looking at the structure of how we would charge this. And so the cutoff for the first rate increase on the water usage is at 200 units, which is, times 7.5 gallons per cubic foot. That seems like a low number, especially compared to other communities, both here and statewide. And I'm referring back to the Rogue Valley where I come from as well. And I really like to see that moved up to 300 at least, if not 400, before we go past the base rate. Before we kick in those extra, I think it goes up 315 at 280. $3.15, and then it goes up for every 100 cubic feet, after that, whatever. But that in itself would be helpful to encourage people to use less water for one, to try to keep the cost down. And I don't think it's realistic. I know very few people in the summer that use.
I will forewarn you, just because the cost is down does not make it that they won't use as much. I
Yeah.
can guarantee you from living
Right.
here for
I mean,
over
and
20 years.
people can pay that, but we can regain it from those people who are the biggest users of that particular resource. And our water is a big deal for all of us.
The users that use that much.
Yeah.
Don't provide enough for us to maintain our system.
Counteract. Yeah.
Right.
So
But the people that don't use it, I mean, I tote 5-gallon buckets out of my washing machine in the summertime to keep using water. Because for one, I value the fact that Dayton has an issue with water, and two, I really want to use as least amount of water that I possibly can. And so I think the people that do the people that I know that are doing those kinds of things should be rewarded for that activity. So I think we
I don't disagree with that.
right,
At one point, we had talked about switching the way we build water.
right.
And I don't know if that's something we need to re-engage in. Because,
Just
Yeah.
on this too.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like there's a couple of topics in the overarch of this, right? So to kind of go back on the first one,
Right.
where it was talking about the fee in and of itself and the high, overall utility fee. This is pulling a little bit out of when we were at the LOC, the city day. So I apologize if I get any of this information incorrectly. Please feel free to correct me in a moment. But when it comes to local government, there's traditionally it's a three-legged stool, right? So you've got your, sales tax, you've got your property tax, and you've got your fees on utilities, right? Is that
That's fair to
like,
say.
So, we're already minus one of those legs because Oregon doesn't do sales tax, right? And so the property taxes and the utility fees are really kind of a couple ways that we can do that. But our property taxes are not locked, but essentially locked because we can increase them so slowly at such a small percentage per year, if I remember correctly. And I can't remember which House bill that was. It was 90 something. There was two of them.
Yeah.
That, if you look at somewhere like Yahats, where they were locked into a very high, property tax rate, they fund almost that entire city based off of property taxes.
So does Carleton.
Because we're Scarlet. But we are really low in that, and so we only really have one leg of that stool to work with, and it's our utility fee exchange. And so, that's one of the hard parts in these conversations is, we've only got one lever that we can work with realistically from year to year to counteract some of these increasing costs. And so, when we're looking at, the piece of the pie of, the utility costs, Matt compared to Carlson compared to here, I feel like it's one of those where it's like, yes, that's a data point, but a data point can be used for any argument if it's only seen in that specific microcosm. I think it has to be also compared to, okay, what are the property tax rates of those municipalities, right? What are the other factors at play? What are the levies that are at play in those municipalities?
What is their tax rate?
What's their tax base? So, that's just the one thing I think I urge a little bit of caution is, you're right. I think that, our utility fees are, we all live in town. I feel, they hurt sometimes from month to month, depending on the month. But the hard part is we just don't have a lot of options. And so all of the needs kind of go into this one bucket, into this one lever pull that we can do. And there's a lot of the historic data too of, holding off on a lot of increases throughout the years. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus in this moment. That's not the point of this part of the conversation. But there's a little bit of backtracking that's being done as well over the last few years coming into this year. And so, it's kind of a lot of things all hitting at once. But that's just,
Well, they didn't raise any.
Yeah,
A lot
that's-
of rates for over 20 years.
exactly. And so there's a lot of pieces to this. But I think ultimately kind of where I'm at is, I'm looking at this as somebody who's, who lives in town, who, is looking at, great, cool, my rates are gonna go up. And that's a bummer, but it's also like, we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars or we're flush with cash where we can, not do this. This is, by necessity. more than
So,
anything
I
else.
mean, so maybe I wasn't clear. So I understand we're in a lot, and I understand we have to
Yeah.
dig our way out of it in some way. Our tax rate, my taxes are more in Dayton than they were in McNiven, where I live, and I had a very similar house, so we can't really say we're paying less taxes in Dayton, and so we're gonna counteract that with our utility bills, because it's flat out not true. So, that being said, what my concern is, when we grow, I'm really concerned of an attitude in Dayton in general, that, okay, we grow, we're just gonna rate increase, okay, here's the $12.50. I
Nobody
understand.
has that intention in mind.
Well, but it feels like it to me.
No.
It really
that-
honestly
that's-
does, because I've only lived in Dayton for 8 years now, and since then, my utility rates gone up quite a bit, and things are more expensive. than
Yeah,
they
your
were.
utility bill, your
Right.
rates have gone up because for 20 years before you, they never.
But my
went up.
rates were similar, but look at what the comparisons are. My rates were similar, and I came from a place in municipalities where my rates were far less than they were here. And my rates were the norm for
But
those
how much did the
municipalities.
city actually get to take from?
But that's not the point. The point is, where are we gonna take that money from? Do we wanna make it our habit to take it from a city that has a 37% poverty rate? Or do we wanna work on other schemes going forward? And so the reason I'm bringing this up is not to say, no, I don't wanna raise the rate. I'd like to do one minor adjustment so that people don't pay that extra kick until they hit 300 cubic feet. That's the only thing that I would like to change. But I'd really like to get a feel for us as counselors as to what is our resource? Because we have a very limited resource in terms of the 2,500 people, however many we have here in Dayton. And so, yeah, I mean, I think a think tank is really in order for city councils to sit down and say, okay, what is our future? Where is this money gonna come from?
Yeah.
And I know we have our urban renewal project, but a lot of that's untouchable. And I know that we're doing grants it only applies to that within the urban renewal boundary, and that may spread out to other ways in you know, in ways that
We can
we can work at.
expand.
You know, and we have funding for a lot of our water project, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing too.
Yeah.
We have to be viable as an agency.
Well,
As-
that's
as a
why we
state.
have the urban renewal district,
But
because
we
it's
also have to
another
take-
option for us to try and.
But I
gain.
really wanna make sure that we're accountable city council members to. To maybe work away from some not so positive habits of in the past. And to really
So-
commit ourselves to those
Yeah,
for the future.
Go ahead.
Well, let me finish what I was saying.
Yeah.
All right, so this is really about getting some intentions to not just dump whatever money we need on our citizens. I don't think that's. fair.
And I wanna caution you
Yeah.
from you believing that that's what this council is about,
Well,
because I can guarantee you that is
I'm asking,
definitely.
I'm just expressing my concern now. If that language doesn't really go well with people, that's fine, I'm sorry.
No, but I wanna make it clear that nobody on this council is cramming down stuff. We have constantly talked about
Mhm,
these things.
right,
Constantly,
Yeah.
and we will continue to talk about these things, but we can't grow a city unless we have infrastructure.
yeah, but we can't grow a city by impoverishing our citizens. Well, there we have. it.
There's a balance, and that's where you have to weigh it, like, do we not keep raising rates? Or do we go ahead and get up to speed,
Yeah.
so that for the next 20 years, we only have to raise it 25 cents as opposed to
So now that's
$12.
exactly what I like to hear. Now, that's the kind of attitude that I can really get behind, Mayor, for sure. And that's really what I'm
That's the
saying
point of
here
it.
in this conversation is, hey, I just wanna make sure we don't make this a habit. I feel like we are like my budget. I can't spend money I don't have.
No,
Yeah.
So I have to
that's not.
budget
even-
for the money that I've got.
That's not even a priority.
Yeah, so this is good stuff. All right, thank you for listening.
Can I add to that as well?
Yes.
So, one thing,
And then-
oh, I'm so sorry, Katie.
Go ahead.
So thank you, because I think that these perspectives are incredibly important and, you know, we need to make sure that we're accountable to each other. That is, and to everybody in town, quite frankly. So we are, you know, checks on each other in some ways.
Mhm.
One thing that I would encourage anybody who's new to council is, or returning is, you know, I've been on council for 3 years now, I think, something like that. And we've had water conversations, rate conversations as big topics in meetings 5, 6, 7 times. And so a lot of those topics, especially the variable rate, you know, conversation or increasing the thresholds, those have been talked about. And so all of those minutes, all of those YouTube, you know, those are easy to find online. And so we could, you know, sit here and rehash the same exact conversation that we've had hours upon hours upon hours over the last few years. What would probably be good is, you know, because I'm right there with you, it's a very, very important topic, is watch some of those meetings and read some of those minutes and kind of see where some of those conversations went, because I'm not even kidding. We've probably spent what, 10 hours talking about this over the last couple of years, if not more. You like, it's been, and just like very dedicated topic. And so the hard part is there's no silver bullet. And that's, I think, one thing that we've circled around to time and time again. And so that was just my kind of in closing, that's kind of my one thing, is just there's a lot of good data out there from those meetings and a lot of really, really good conversation that is actually touching on exactly some of those topics. So just an idea. That's it.
From an accounting standpoint. Water and sewer service is a business to the city of Dayton. Now I would like to verify this, but we have to charge what it costs. Because if we don't, we're gonna have to take it from that $1.71 or whatever in property tax.
$1.79.
We have the lowest rate in property taxes in all the counties, so we really can't afford to spend any of that. What I would like to see from Mr. Jerry, can you give us a worksheet, or maybe I should be asking you and Rob? I would very much like to see a spreadsheet with exactly what is going into our water rates. Can we tie numbers in from the budget last year to what we're gonna charge over this next year and make sure we're covering our costs?
We did
Because,
that already. Didn't we
It's
do
in the
that?
budget here.
um,
I'm not sure it's cut down by water. I mean, that's on the.
well, I would, we need to be charging what it costs to do things. And then figure out how much of a cushion we can build in, because that's the only way we can reduce rates. Is if we don't charge the customers for maintenance or repairs or for future infrastructure. But the infrastructure is the part that is so hard on them. And another thing to remember, our sewer rates as listed on the water bill include $26 for the bridge. That was $13 2 years in a row. That was not about sewer. And so have you figured out?
It was that,
What we see on our water bill or on the sewer charge contains the $26 debt payment. Did you learn how to separate that?
So I know how to separate it on the bill. What I don't know is. First I heard of this was last week talking to you,
Right, okay.
so.
Is there a chance, by the time we put this new charge onto our bill, can we have it all separated so we know exactly how much is sewer, how much is the debt payment, how much is the public safety?
Well, I'm not talking about the public safety, let's get that clear.
Well,
That I.
but what you see on the water bill for sewer contains $26 that isn't sewer. And so
So it
compare
is,
that,
if it's for the building of the infrastructure, it's for sewers.
It's for the bridges.
yeah, it was for the.
Exactly.
but it's
So it's
not the
different.
cost of providing sewer services.
If we're paying $26 a month and it's associated with the sewer, it's part of providing cost for the sewer system.
Well, what we're paying for is the
Well, my
bridge.
concern is this, Council Maxon, that's when we put the state 50
Maxon?
units in, sorry, excuse me.
Um,
When we put those 50 units in over there, that we're gonna be paying for the infrastructure costs on that too, and where's that money gonna come from? Really?
I thought that's why we weren't building them, because we didn't have that money yet. But, I'm not sure how this. Okay, something Rochelle was told. We couldn't get infrastructure funding for the steel span of the bridge. They told her, well, you could just put the pipes across the river. Technically speaking, the bridge isn't needed. It isn't really a part of delivering water or sewer services. It's helping protect the pipes as it goes across the bridge. or
It's
across
also
the
used
river.
as an emergency bridge when there's an emergency.
But that isn't really connected to the cost of providing water and sewer.
But it is, cause those pipes had to hang on something, so we might as well use something that's utilized by everybody and benefits us all. Otherwise, it
Okay.
hangs there on just some
So,
nothing across the bridge, otherwise you have to do it under the water, and that's 300 times more.
well, yeah, we had it there, took it out, and I think we thought about putting it back under the water and.
It was a discussion, but the
Yeah.
cost to do that is.
Yeah, that's why we put it up and over.
Well, I didn't really intend to talk about all that, I just really wanna make my concerns known as councilman.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's move
We
on,
can move on, yeah,
thank you.
and whether or not anybody's willing to amend that to a base rate of 300, I don't know whether that's even doable. That's really what I'm proposing.
Madam Mayor, if I may, we're on item number 3 with respect to the public safety fee, and we're still waiting on a motion to approve the second reading by title only.
I did that,
I did the reading, I don't think we did the motion.
yeah, okay, well, who's gonna do the motion? Go for it.
Move to adopt ordinance 667, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Dayton authorizing the establishment of a public safety fee, enacting section 20 to municipal code, chapter 1.
I don't think there was a reading by, a motion to approve, reading by title only.
I did that
Oh.
approval already.
I don't think so.
Yes, you did that.
It was 668.
No, it wasn't. It was 667 because I said 668 and you said no 667.
We just need a motion to approve the first reading.
Second reading. First.
No, first reading. We did it, but whatever.
The second.
Somebody make a motion to accept the first reading.
The second.
The second.
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance 667 by title only.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Counselor Littlebrand and a second from, we'll give it to Counselor Dyke-Brook. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you.
And can we finish the other motion to adopt?
Yep, that's after the.
So I have a motion from Counselor Peterson to adopt ordinance 667.
I think. Okay, I'm so lost now anyways. Okay, I have a motion from Counselor Peterson and we need a second. And a second from Counselor Mackin. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
And this, the all caps, following the reading by title, the next recommended motion is as follows. I missed that, sorry.
Okay. Page 295 for the fee schedule. And we just,
Talked about that.
we've already talked about it, so a motion or something.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I have just a couple. Like to draw the council's attention to a couple things. A couple corrections that our utility billing specialist brought to my attention this morning. They're minor details, but I do want to make sure you have accurate info. So I have a table on page 299. That table is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So. This should. You get 200 cubic feet. This says gallons, it's cubic feet. And then you're charged at tier 1 for the next 200, and then you're charged at tier 2 for the 144 to get 544. So somebody using 544 cubic feet, it's about 4,000 gallons. They're not being charged at tier 3. Okay, that's what this updated table shows. So based on this updated calculation of what the new fee would be, that's a $3.06 increase per month to their water bill.
For the usage of 544 gallons.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Well, that fixes that as far as I'm concerned.
So that's for water. Water has a 5% increase in the base, 5% in the volumetric. Sewer is the big one. This is what we discussed this during the budget process. And these numbers are based on what the budget committee endorsed. So sewer is 19% across the board. And then I want to note on page 295, water rates were last adjusted in 2022, not 2021. I also want to note on page 298 on this comparison, for outside of city, those are all 200 cubic feet. So your allowance for if you're out of city limits for the base is 200 cubic feet for all levels. Okay, that's all I had. Just wanted you all to have correct information.
Cool. Mayor?
Yes, please.
I move to approve resolution 2025/26-12, a resolution amending the city of Dayton fee schedule to add a public safety fee, update water and sewer rate schedule, and add a franchise application fee.
A second.
Okay, I have the motion from Councilor Hildebrand and a second from Councilor Hoover. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes.
May I make a comment real fast?
Sure.
So I do really appreciate, by the way, Jeremy, in the public safety fee paragraph, that final sentence, or the final couple sentences, where it essentially says, then for fiscal year 26-27, the fee could be lowered to account for full fiscal year's collection. So I think that kind of goes in line with our conversation of, if the levy goes through, is this a temporary addition? And it's just acknowledging that, and I wanted to say that I appreciated it.
Certainly, thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to page 307. This is the review and approval of their cancellation letter for the water tank maintenance contracts.
Anything to talk about with it or?
Just a funky requirement in the contract.
Cool. Madam Mayor,
Yes, please.
I move to authorize Mayor Frank, Council President Hildebrand, Councilor Mackin to sign the termination notice letter to Utility Service Company, Inc. For their water tank maintenance contracts for the 100,000 gallon tank and the 600,000 gallon tank.
I'll
That's
second.
the,
I have a motion from Councilor Hildebrand, a second from Councilor Wilkins. And all those in favor? Motion passes.
Madam Mayor, and
Yes.
Jeremy, I have a quick follow-up question to that. In the information here, it talks about going out to bid. Is that an immediate thing? Or are you gonna go out to bid on it immediately once it's terminated? Or is that gonna be something that's a bit of a delay on the bid process?
Don, would you like to touch on that?
It'll probably be more immediate than not, just because we have to stay on top of that, to stay in compliance, so.
All right, we're gonna move on to page 325. This is the approval of amendment number 3 of the utility bridge project loan with DEQ.
I just wanna say that 19 cents on the final loan amount is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Could throw in a quarter and we'd be.
All right,
Isn't this a little lower than we were expecting? I was hearing 7. So this might be good news.
We did have those ARPA funds that.
Yeah.
From the county and from. the
Where, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
that
ready to reduce.
Yeah,
Cool,
that-
okay,
adds up to the 7.
yeah, all right.
all right, I'll entertain a motion,
All right, Madam Mayor,
please.
I move to approve amendment number 3 to the loan documents with the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, and authorize the city manager to execute the loan amendment documents.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilor Macklin and a second from Councilor Wilkins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, let's move on to page 330. This is the housing infrastructure financing program application review.
All right, this is a grant that opened up in mid-October. It has a quick turnaround time. We believe it would be in the city's best interest, at least to try to squeeze something in before that deadline closes. This is a new funding opportunity that's designed to address one of the barriers to new housing construction in this state, and that is infrastructure. Our city engineer advised us, if we're going to turn something in, to target the water main transmission lines that would serve development in Neck Road. So that's within our UGB urban growth boundary. And in your packet, which Lucia is pulling up here, but it's on 332, we have the water main transmission lines deal. So one would be a 12-inch main going up Highway 221, then some 8 and 10-inch mains, different areas to connect with it, make sure there's enough pressure for fire service. We're still working on numbers and other details. At this point, we're asking for city council's endorsement of this so we can go ahead and get it in. And once the contract, if we do get it, is approved, of course, we'll be bringing that back to you for final approval. At this point, we're just getting your buy-in for a potential $2 million water project to serve Neck Road.
Oh, that's awesome.
Don, you have anything to add?
I just know that this has been a real big topic with all of the pre-construction meetings we've had, where everybody's gung ho, wants to move forward on that project, and then they get to this water line, and it seems to be the roadblock that nobody can financially figure out how to work through that, and so. This potentially could, I mean. It would add. Fire flow for everybody on that side of town, but this might be. What stops the people from pulling out of that project over there, so.
I know we've been talking about this for like a quarter of a century now. We need to get that land developed.
Yep.
People have been wanting to, we gotta do it before they lose it first. Madam Mayor, when you're ready,
Please.
all right. I authorize staff to submit a housing infrastructure financing program application to Business Oregon for water transmission upgrades for Neck Road housing development with an estimated project budget of up to 2 million and authorize the mayor to sign the application upon its completion.
Okay, I have a motion from Counselor Mack and a second, Counselor Grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion happens. All right, page 345, approval of resolution 202/26-13.
Dave, we've touched on this before, Jeremy, is there anything else to refresh on?
Nope, just closing out a fund, we need to transfer some money to zero it out.
Yeah. You look on page 20 of your financial statements, funds there, sitting there for over this year.
Excellent. Madam,
Yes, please.
I move to approve resolution 2025/26-13. A resolution authorizing the interfund budget and line item transfer between the general fund and the ARPA fund and dissolution of the ARPA fund.
A whole $42.
And no financial credits.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Okay.
A second.
Yeah, I have a motion from Counselor Grant, a second from Counselor Mackin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, we're going to move on to page 349 for the community center analysis discussion. I believe Dave has some information for us on this.
Yeah, our city manager, Donald asked me to take a look at this by, do an investigation into community use fees and see what we could do to maybe get this community center back open, because it's definitely something that the residents here would like to see back in play. What you'll see there is basically the history of when, back in June 2023, when I came on board, that was the first project actually that Rochelle had me do. And we then adopted in October a new fee schedule that was more in line with what the facility actually was worth, and also in comparison to other cities. That next page illustrates that analysis that was done to see what the comparison was with the surrounding cities of our size and so forth in both Yamhill and outside of Yamhill County. That first document says Dayton Community Center Event Center. That's our old rates. And then the next Palmer Creek Lodge Community Center is our new rates. So you can see that we increase things in a fairly substantial manner. And when you get to, if you were to skip to page 355, you'll notice that our income rose when we made that decision. Our use declined a little bit in 1 year and the following year even more so. But our income overall, our rental income actually went up substantially, which was good. And it showed that even though we had made that increase, it didn't affect the use of the facility. Then I took on page 354, I summarized what our costs are to operate the community center. And to the best of my ability, I took this and did averages over a 3-year period of time. To get to an amount that would approximate what an annual use or payment would be to operate it. I think for some, there's, you look at those expenses and go elevator, well, some of those things are just required. I mean, unfortunately, one thing we do know is we try to avoid calling that elevator company, because every time they come out, it's $1,000. So it's certainly a high fee. Carpet cleaning, you know, that's an average, that's obviously, you know, gone down recently because we removed carpet from the downstairs. So all in all, your total average annual cost of 33,000, I feel like is pretty accurate. And when you're seeing that we've been bringing in 20,000 or so, we have a deficit then of $13,000. So I went ahead and looked at things and I said, well, you can do a fee increase, you can increase things 100% and you could cover double that income of 20, make it 40, cover your expenses and also have a reserve for maintenance. But we know that we just raised the fees 2 years ago in a fairly significant way. We could increase the number of annual bookings. Well, that requires the interest to be there, right? And yeah, certainly we could market it more aggressively and so forth to get greater and greater use. But it also means when you get greater use, you get greater cost association with the operation. So, you know, a combination of those two things could be looked at. When you look at number 4 on there as an option, it's a partial change of use, considered long-term tenant occupancy of one half of the facility equal to the operating deficit, continue to rent the remaining half as currently utilized, or just go to a complete change of use where the community would not be able to access the facility. I would like to pursue the pathway of looking at what we could do to maybe get a permanent tenant for half of it, and where we could continue to use the facility for community use. One of the things I looked at, you know, I go back to that economic development study. There's things like that the community wanted, like daycare, this, that. Those are the kinds of things that might be viable there, especially upstairs where you don't need a kitchen necessarily for that use. And then we could maintain the kitchen for use of the community when they rent it out downstairs. So, what I'm basically asking is if I can pursue analyzing that further. My steps would be looking at what our square footage is over there on both up and down. What logically would be the kind of square footage or cost per or price per square foot that we could generate from having a tenant. And then reaching out to some potential people out there, including some that may have operating daycare here in Dayton already out of their homes, to see if there's interest that way or outside as well. Obviously, we can go to a commercial real estate company and go down that route. But I think that both Jeremy and I concluded that it might be in our best interest to just see what's out there ourselves first and see if we can generate some interest. So as you can see, and I just looked at this before I came in here, but you know, typical rental rates on things like this are $1.25 to $1.50 square foot. I think the square footage downstairs is 2,500 square feet. Upstairs is probably very similar. If you could generate a couple $1,000s or more per month, that's $24,000 a year, and still be able to rent out the facility similar to how you are right now. You'll cover your costs and also be able to cover your maintenance going forward, which would be a huge benefit because there is some work that needs to be done there currently right now. So I just wanted to share that with you and see what your thoughts were, your feelings were, because I'm certainly willing to go ahead and research this further.
Okay, so a few follow-up questions. So one of the things that's come up in the last couple of years as a point of conversation regarding that building is the potential as a in part city hall, in part library. I don't see that in any of the recommendations on this. I'm kind of curious, A, as to why, and then like, is that idea kind of kaput? You know, is it possible to maintain half of it as a community center and then half of it in the city hall? You know, idea, like kind of where are we at of that is.
I think it's cost related more than anything else. You would have to come up with the money to be able to do that, and that's obviously gonna be millions of dollars.
Gotcha.
We obviously do have some money set aside right now.
Yeah.
Roughly, I think $850,000 set aside for capital improvements of that nature. Which would allow us to at least go down the path. I think Jeremy would better be the one to respond to that than me, as to what the potential is. But this is more of a short-term, objective.
Okay.
Try and just get it open again so that the community can once again enjoy it.
Sure, they hit the nail on the head. It's short term.
Gotcha.
Our next step is gonna be a facilities study, and my goal is to bring that to you in January. To engage a firm to do a facilities analysis that will in turn inform hiring an architect. And that in turn will result in construction documents. Realistically, it's gonna take us a year to get to a point of starting construction. So the question is, do we just let it sit there for a year when we could be trying to get at least some idea there on a short-term basis? And it, getting somebody in on a short-term basis might not work, might not be feasible, but we can at least start looking at things.
If we bring somebody in there to rent half of it, are we going to have to do any kind of changing of the building inside to fit?
The nice thing about it right now is both upstairs and downstairs have bathroom facilities that meet, requirements. We have an elevator that meets ADA requirements. We have our heating system now and a cooling system operating, so that's good news. I think that when you look, especially relative to upstairs, that kind of lends itself to, it's almost like a gym in some ways, so.
Well, that would ultimately be the best thing.
Yeah, it
Not
definitely
that
would
that
be,
would happen.
right, but that would be the way I would say would be the least. Costly way to go about doing it, where you wouldn't have a big requirement of having to do any kind of associated changes. Our security system would allow us to program the thing and divide it off so that downstairs wouldn't be accessible to upstairs and vice versa.
Mhm.
So that would be helpful as well.
Okay. I think that's a good idea to.
I'll pursue it and hopefully come back to you in January with some additional information.
Excellent. All right. On to item 10, local option levy update, page 357. And I think what we're trying to give, this is some dates for City Hall, excuse me,
Town hall.
thank you. And were we talking February?
February preferably, so if there's any dates that will work for you, it'd be an afternoon, probably starting at 6 or 6:30. So this would be in conjunction with the school district. We talked to Amy and she would like to have like a parent night, resident night where everybody can come in and listen to Sheriff's Department and their take on what's going on in Dayton, so people can be informed of what's going on, where their calls are taking them, and then council would speak to the levy renewal.
Did you have something? Yeah, I knew you had something. That's all
I
right.
always have something.
I'm like, go
Look
for
over
it.
as soon as anybody gets done talking about anything. So I had a light bulb as soon as you mentioned the sheriff presentation. So in one of the most recent meetings, I brought up Scarlet Communications and chatting with Kitry about any kind of marketing around the public safety levy. Any kind of interview with the sheriff that could be put out on multimedia, methods, I think will go real far. Or if it's coming directly from the sheriff's department of like, hey, this is what we currently do. Maybe, and I don't think they can necessarily weigh in on the levy, but it's like giving the data on the work done, could go a long ways. Videos, today's day and age are, that's the way to go. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
So that's all I got.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So we're looking for an early evening event that will happen at in the elementary school gym
Or the high school gym, we're not sure yet, we'll
Okay.
talk with Amy once we have a date and see what.
Do you want a couple of dates?
Yes. if you have.
Is there a day of the week that you prefer?
Saturday.
What would be the best of
I think weeknight is better.
Think weeknight, not a Saturday.
yeah,
I do.
kids are gonna be out doing.
People are going
stuff.
to play.
Well, they're playing sports and doing that sort of thing.
Maybe like. When do they usually play? Tuesdays and Thursdays is what it used to be, so.
You wanna do Wednesday?
Well, my kid's not in school.
Because in February is the soccer season in spring or fall? Yeah.
It's both. They do
So-
both.
Winter sports are wrestling and basketball.
Okay, so we just need to figure out what the end days are, so that.
Well, and they have the sports schedule now.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
easy to, we can get that from the OSAA, right?
OSA website.
I mean, so maybe we wanna say 10, 11, or 12, depending on what the sports in February. So that's
that's
Tuesday or
good.
Wednesday or Thursday, whatever. Doesn't conflict with something you're doing.
That'll mean we'll have a meeting. On February 2nd, and then again the following week, and then again the following week after that, if we do work session. Just preparing you.
Oh,
We get to hang out so much then.
Those are fine dates for me, everybody else? Good.
All those work for me.
No.
Get up at the school, the sheriff's office, and let y'all know when things are confirmed.
Sweet.
what time are we talking?
You wanna show them the webpage?
Oh, yes, we have.
So our website is live. That was publicized in Berry Street News, we got the QR code. We're gonna continue to build this out. Cindy was working on it today. We got some different tabs up there that show different things. Scroll up there. We got the survey.
Surveys at tabs right here. You can click about the levy, get the history on the levy. Levy infographic. The information in graphic form.
I love visuals.
That's beautiful.
I don't know, there's just something to be said about visuals.
We got some financial data and trends.
And then we got financial information. More graphs.
Perfect.
And I'm waiting on workload data from the sheriff's office. I've asked them for the past 5 years of workload data. When we get that, we'll slice and dice it into the graphical format, put it on here.
Excellent.
Cool.
And you can sign up for updates to your email.
Oh, cool.
Are there crime documents, or statistics in there too?
Yep, that's what I'm waiting on.
We're
from the
waiting.
sheriff's office.
I think that'll be helpful too.
Yes.
There's more crime going on in Dayton.
So it's just city website address / 2026 levy renewal.
It's a good thing he didn't live here when we didn't have police services, huh?
I lived in Cave Junction and I know what crime is there.
It was out for 7 years or something like that.
Yeah, we were out for a while.
You don't know what you got. till
Wild,
it's gone.
Wild West.
Justine County had no sheriff for 7 or 8 years, not one sheriff, there was one sheriff, and that was it. Jails were closed, nobody was patrolling the streets.
Great justice?
Yeah, that's what it was. Smith and Wesson was on duty.
When we have no deputy, we have no crime. It says so on paper. When you bring the deputy back, that's when you have your crime. I mean,
It's only because they start getting caught.
well, there you have it. We went without a code enforcement officer for 3 months in between. And the same thing happened. We didn't have anything wrong for 3 months.
Yeah, you probably have things
So now
wrong
we're
for
gonna
a
do.
while.
Yeah, we didn't have anybody.
Yeah, but before I let everybody free with their comments and concerns, I want to discuss the July fireworks show. Do we want to do it for July 3rd on the Friday, when we already do the music and everything?
We're already tied in. Haven't we already signed?
Didn't we agree with that last?
No,
No,
Oh,
We haven't signed anything.
no,
Oh, okay.
or do it was brought up, but it was never determined. And then, or do we wanna do it on the actual day, 4th of July day?
Do we want to vote on it, there's an emotion involved?
I have an opinion.
Now, let's
please
let's
share.
talk to it.
Mhm.
I think Personally, I think we should have it on the 3rd. Because I feel if we have it on the 4th, because this coming year is the 250th anniversary, I feel that we would have to do something big for that event. And in the situation right now with budget and everything else, I think it'd be better for our community and pressure on the people putting the event together to tie in with DCDA and the Dayton Friday Nights music that we've had for the past 2 years. I think we'd have a better event that way than trying to push something through and try to do something big on the 4th.
It also stops us from, trying to fight with like, Newburgh
Another
and
fireworks show.
St. Paul.
Yeah.
And St.
Mhm.
Paul puts on a big one on 4th of July, so does Newburgh. And it's just like, yeah.
Counselor Tycro, do we get a discount by moving it to the 3rd from the 4th?
Actually.
It is a little less. I don't have the exact numbers. Last time it was either 10,000 having it on the 3rd or 15,000 having it on the 5th or 4th. Sorry.
That was for the same one that we had the one time.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
which that was what, 15 minutes of fireworks?
Yeah, 15 to 17.
Yeah.
All right, so does anybody have any qualms about it being on another day or anything?
I think it makes total sense to have it on the 3rd.
Honestly, I like the idea of the 3rd. It draws more people here during that time.
Yeah.
Save money.
Okay, so I guess the 3rd it is.
Okay.
The next question before I move on to your comments. This year, because we don't have a budget to really allow for it, we would still like to do some sort of a Christmas party. So I'd like to ask if council would be interested in doing like, we each bring something.
Yeah.
And then we can take care of our staff. Thank them and have our little holiday party. We could probably just do it right here or.
Like a potluck thing, what you're
Yeah, like a potluck kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And,
I support that.
okay,
Yeah.
so,
Can we bring spouses? Yeah.
yeah, of course,
I make a mean bolognese.
is that right?
Heck yeah. I'm down for that.
I bring a mean bag of chips.
Perfect.
Hey, hold on, if we're trying to up the ante on this, I could just bring you all to a really great freaking place. There. With some good food and good drinks. I guarantee.
pick a date?
We can pick a date. Do we wanna pick a date?
We're talking about December 20th, maybe?
Yes,
Want it on
I cannot do December 21st though.
We do the 19th or the 20th, assuming we wanna do it on a weekend night.
You can't do the 19th.
Not.
Would the staff rather a weekday or weeknight or weekend?
Weekday.
Weekday. What's a good day do you prefer for staff? Does staff prefer, I should say?
Probably Thursday.
18th.
The 18th,
18th, yeah.
18th?
What do you think?
I like it.
18th,
18th.
Yeah.
okay.
Quiet concert.
So if staff bringing stuff, or are we providing all of it?
Thursday, I know a whole. Inside.
I mean, volume wise, it's gonna make a difference now.
But there right now.
I think we all think.
You talking about staff bringing too?
No one.
Us? Okay.
And they will.
It's our, we take care of them. So.
So Thursday, the 18th at 5 o'clock. Thursday, 18th, 5 o'clock. So I can reach out to each of y'all individually and just coordinate who's bringing what, make sure we got it all covered.
Perfect.
Love that.
And where would we be bringing it to here?
Yep,
Yeah?
we got a kitchen in there too, so.
Yeah.
If we need to order something, whatever.
I can, we'll
we'll pick this up on, but I'm not able to get that name. It's open for more than the advance of the back and.
Oh.
Pizzas.
That would be fun.
But
That would be pretty
I
amazing.
got some calls to make on that.
So we'll have it here at City Hall.
We don't have to pay any fees for nothing.
Well, do we wanna do the community center?
It's so big.
No.
It's kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
Gotcha.
And
feel the same.
the bypass, they have the whole other side of the bar
Yeah.
that is not used on a Thursday. They can send out a bunch of pies there. You know,
We'll talk
Yeah,
about it.
pizzas,
yeah, let's talk about it.
and they would be more than happy to pay it, I'm fairly sure.
Okay.
That's cool.
All right, council comments and concerns, Chris.
None at this time.
Counselor.
No, I've said my piece. Plus, so.
Counselor Peterson.
No.
So, you may have seen, in the Dayton community page, today, there was a fire in town this morning. And a family's house was lost.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Abby's house.
And so the Dayton school district has put out a call to action for the community for, they've got a 2-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old for, we're heading to the holidays and, that's all of our worst nightmares, especially this time of year. And so they're gonna be going through a lot. The Dayton Food Pantry is getting involved. I saw that today, which is excellent. I'd like to see if there's ways either as a, governmental body, or as individuals that we can participate in this. I saw that they started a, sorry,
GoFundMe?
well, they started at, I think it was at First Federal in Mac, they started basically an account for them. It's not in the classic GoFundMe, methodology, it's a different way. But I can provide all that information to Jeremy, for on an individual, because then he can disseminate it out. I can't get it out to everybody. But I think it would be good for us as representatives of the community to participate in this. And if there's ways, I don't know if there is, this isn't asking for anything in particular, but if there is any way for the Dayton City government to participate in this, I think it's just a really good community
I
support
wanna
opportunity.
caution, because if we don't catch every person whose house catches on fire,
Right.
and we don't do something, we're gonna get called on the rug for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's just on the individual
What did you say,
perspective.
2-year-old? What were the?
2-year-old, 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old, so they're doing sponsorship opportunities.
It's my daughter-in-law's step.
You'll send that information to us, Jim.
Sure.
Cool,
Yeah,
thank you.
so-
Yeah.
Sad moment. Wanted to,
We can take a collection too.
You can donate to First Federal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it.
yeah, and there's like an actual account name that's, and I'll send all that to Jeremy, he can,
Got it.
so, but, that's all I got.
All right, how about you, sir? Any council comments, concerns?
None at the moment.
All right.
Oh,
Counselor.
wanted to follow up on PGE. Have they talked to you about when they're gonna come talk to us?
Not yet.
I am very interested after those 2 power outages. I have so many questions for them. What are we facing in the way of aging infrastructure? Want to make sure that it doesn't fall through the cracks. And I got a teeny tiny brag. I'm on the Energy and Environment Policy Committee for another year. I was asked by the Women's Caucus if I would represent them this year.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
I don't know what that entails, but I'm happy to do it.
Nice.
And I think that's it for now.
I would have served on that committee, but I didn't have the energy.
Well, you're not exactly what.
Oh, lordy.
I gotta tell you, these last few months have been kind of dry for new jokes.
When I say something, it's not because I'm trying to be funny, it just happens. I didn't never-
And we like that.
Yeah.
That's the best kind.
All right, tourism and economic development. Mr. Dave.
Well, I'm not sure how to proceed since we now have this in written form, so I don't know if you need me to review it or if that the report is.
How about if we have any questions for Dave?
I think that'd be great.
Did you all read the reports? Did you like how the reports were laid out the way they
Yeah,
are?
very much so.
So if you don't have any questions for Dave, we're gonna move on to Public Works. Do you have any questions for Public Works?
Thank you.
Public Works, can you go down the street where you guys put our bathroom on my street? And make them put those trees they cut down back up?
What the streets, the bathrooms.
You know, the one you guys trim, so you put the bathroom in to begin with?
Mhm.
The house is foreclosed on,
Yeah.
so the bank came in and chopped every goddamn tree down in that part.
Oh, no.
Pardon my French, in that lot.
Wow.
Wonder why the bank did that.
And some of those trees had to have been at least 200 years old. They chopped every one down.
Should have an ordinance, a tree cutting
I was
ordinance.
gonna say, a lot of cities.
I would like to, but I've had a lot of people complain about it, but I would love to have a tree ordinance.
Yeah, so
Because-
I'll support you on that.
They cut all of them, all around the side,
That's
in
gonna be-
the
that's
front,
crazy.
they're gone. It's white. When I drove in from work today, I was like, "Hey."
Yeah, that's like a knife through your heart.
It is a nice.
No, it is, I agree.
Yeah, they just did it today. Smell it. It was so livid.
You hear the screaming of the tree.
Yes,
Is this a house next to it between there and?
it's right next to the park. So if
Between the
you're
park and-
coming from Ash End, on the right hand side, there's the blue house and then the old brown house there. That one,
Right next to the park.
yes.
Yeah, okay. It was kind of old, it's.
It needs help, but the trees are not the problem, it's the house.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, can we, I'd like to see.
Is
about
that
the
something we
tree
can bring to council, maybe as a tree ordinance that we can look at?
I think. we have to present this.
Sorry.
We got a lot of ordinance updates.
Jeremy, look at the page.
I was saying, that's it.
Well, we had an
Oh,
agenda review today
ordinance
too, and I
section.
said, can we look
Yeah,
at
I'm not really reading it down.
Yeah, agree.
So, okay, anyways, do we have any other questions for Public Works other than them wanting, I want them to.
There's been a little venting.
Okay, they do, okay.
So Don, I wanted to touch base on McDougal well number 2, so it's causing 130 gallon per minute shortfall since 1119.
Yeah.
How does that then compare? Is that enough to be relevant, especially this time of year? Probably not, but I just wanted to double check and make sure that 130 gallons per minute isn't enough to cause any kind of issues that we can pursue.
So far, it hasn't. It's just taking added time to fill the Springs Reservoir. We did get in touch with the contractor. They were hoping to have the parts before Thanksgiving. They showed up over the weekend, so they actually called and they're gonna be out tomorrow morning. So
Cool.
by end of day tomorrow, if everything goes smoothly, it'll be back up and running.
Excellent.
So, and then it's got, they didn't replace it with the exact same model because it's outdated, so they went to a newer updated style. So basically, anything that happens maintenance wise, it's all plug and play, where the old one was completely dismantle and send out a part for machining.
Yeah.
This is, you undo a couple of bolts, toss a new piece in, bolt it back up, drop it back in the groove. So this is gonna be maintenance wise for us, this is gonna be a huge win
Heck
on
yeah,
that well, so.
that's great to hear.
And really cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
turned out well.
And then the next one is, so the 2 water leaks that are mentioned in the next one under goal A, were those minor leaks, major leaks?
Minor.
Significant minor,
Yeah.
just wanna make sure. And then the last was the sweeper, I thought it was back up and running, did it break again?
Yeah,
Oh.
Cool. That was.
Who brought it this
Yeah.
time?
Where are we?
So brought it.
We fixed the broom head,
Okay,
the motor, the electric motor or hydraulic motor went out on that. Everything ran fine. We've got it down to, it's either an electrical connection between the cabin chassis and the accessory motor, or it's the starter for the accessory motor. So we're hoping to have that diagnosed this week. But yeah, fingers crossed, it's just the starter and then.
Should we get a grant for a new one?
I thought we just put it right in
It was-
the tank.
It was outdated when we bought it.
I
so-
know, that's why I was like, we don't need to keep
Yeah.
fixing it.
Any chance there's another one like that available, so we could kind of sort of start over? We need to find somebody who is upgrading theirs, so.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be cheaper just to pay somebody to come do it. No. Because then we don't have to maintenance any of those things or pay for any of that stuff. I wonder how much that would cost in comparison.
Probably a lot of.
Should we find
Probably a
out?
lot
Not
more.
a bad idea.
So just want us to get them under contract kind of thing and.
Yeah, because there's street sweepers that do that
Yeah.
and have contracts with cities all over the place. And they pay for the maintenance and repairs and all that kind of stuff, so. Okay, anybody else have any comments or questions for Dawn? Okay. Finance. Anybody got questions?
Not yet.
Just got finances. I did have one update and that, I believe it's Thursday that I'm meeting with the DCBA.
Oh, okay, cool, excellent.
I have one follow-up question. With regard to the funding was obtained for the Fisher Nursery Well Development Feasibility Study. For the reduction in the loan from the state. When will we hear back from them on if we were chosen, what the applicable amount is? Is there a deadline that we should know more from the state on what our impact is on that loan? The 1.2.
That's the grant.
Oh, sorry, thank you, I apologize, not the loan, the grant.
We'll know as the legislative session in 26 gets underway.
Gotcha.
So I would say by spring or so. we should
Spring,
know.
okay, cool, that sounds good, thank you, sorry, I'm following up on the wrong thing in the wrong line item, but.
But
We got everybody in.
Well,
Cool. Thank you.
sure.
All right, so if nobody has any questions, we'll move on to library.
I just had, so audit to begin today. Cause audit to begin. well,
Yes, that's what it's, yeah. Nothing happened today, but it really officially began today, yes.
Okay.
It's not.
I like that, yeah, it began, we didn't do it, but it began.
It's
No,
the beginning.
there are some things that I have to do this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you.
All right, and I didn't see any questions for Cindy that I had. Did anybody else have anything? No. No, okay. And how about for Rocio City Recorder? I got nothing.
Thank you, that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Okay, now we're moved on to the long city manager. No, I'm kidding. Page 382.
Where is my city manager? Here it is. All right, so the code enforcement officer and I conducted a citywide code compliance review. We identified 10 properties. I'll give you a flavor of what we identified and the letters that we sent out. I won't give specific addresses, but I'll give you a flavor of like what areas of town that it was everywhere. So on Mill Street, we have multiple junk vehicles, miscellaneous rubbish, noxious vegetation. Couple on Alder Street with junk and noxious vegetation. Couple on Ferry Street with abandoned vehicles and other attractive nuisances. Joel Palmer Way, a junk trailer in the right of way, Ash Street. Junk issues, Second and First Street. again, more junk and noxious vegetation. One letter that I thought went out that didn't go out has to do with the potential dangerous building. We will get that notification out this week. So one of the items on the list has already been taken care of. For a few others, we've had citizens come in and talk to us about a plan to give them some time. And for all the others, if we don't hear anything by the deadline, we'll take the next steps. On the integrator of record RFP, I've been talking about this since July. There's been a lot of work on this. I screwed up and missed an important detail. I didn't publish the public notice in the right newspaper. So that, on the plus side, that made your packet 200 pages lighter.
Wow.
Nice.
Our packet, you mean the notebook?
Yes.
We would have had two notebooks. You had to have exactly.
So you'll see this in January, but the beauty of this is the way that we set up this procurement is that we'll bring somebody on board potentially for 15 years and they could do public contracting and maintenance at the same time. So that'll get somebody on board to do all of those. So I think the investment, do it right, has been worth it. Fisher Farms project, we're going to have our kickoff meeting next week. Franchise renewal, I was referred to a telecommunications attorney by our law firm, so I'm working on that. I submitted, or Kurt prepared and submitted on our behalf, a wetlands technical assistance grant. This was another program that opened up with a quick timeline, so he got that in for us.
There will be a resolution from city council in support of that.
For sure.
And we checked the box to hire a DLCD consultant. If we get it. The COG informed me that there's Economic Development Administration funding for other infrastructure projects, so I'm gonna have some more conversations with them. They said there's a ton of money just for Yamhill County that hasn't been tapped into yet.
Let's get on.
Let's get on it.
Sure.
Sustainable infrastructure planning projects, that opens up in February. So this would pay for a consultant to do some of the long range infrastructure planning for a water system. There's a lot of different things that we've been considering, such as tying into Mac Water and Light, buying out Lafayette. A lot of difficult decisions to make. They can compile all the data, project all the long range trends, and help us figure out the best strategy. So I'm gonna be looking at that in February. I signed an engagement letter for audit, costs $36,000. That includes one single audit. I had various community contacts.
Business.
That and bond attorneys. The Dayton Hotel applicant has submitted an appeal request. We're tentatively scheduling to bring that before planning commission on January 8th.
And when can we get a copy of it?
When we publish the notice, the hearing notice, right?
What day is
Yeah,
that?
I'm just waiting to confirm that
Potentially this
the
week.
eighth will,
Okay, yes, that's gonna be a big document.
just the notice is not that big about. But the actual,
Well, I'm interested in what the actual, well, but you're gonna post what they're trying to get changed, right?
the statement is only a couple pages.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that'll be online.
Oh, the entire statement, but if they're just proposed, the statement's just a few pages of what they want to change, or whether it's just a notice that there is a new document online, that's two different things.
The statement that they made will go out with the notice, so you'll see exactly what they submitted
Okay.
for appeal.
But the notice will be.
The notice will be
Yeah.
online and as soon as you've seen the actual administrative decision on the website.
Yes.
That's been posted for.
So it's got a few more details to work out, and then you'll see that online. I will let you know when those materials are available. Following up on another ordinance update related to open burning, I did have some correspondence with DEQ just to verify some information. Rob Halliburton on the planning commission verified his intention to step down at the end of this year. In the Ferry Street News, there's a call for applications. We could potentially bring somebody to January. If you know anybody good, give them or who's interested, give them my cell phone number. I'm happy to take somebody out to coffee and get them interested in the planning commission. I have various other activities listed. One of which is that the team and I had a call with Northwest Natural Gas. They're exploring the possibility of coming to Dayton. So they'll be coming to you in January for your input on it. That's something that we might want to
They
consider.
tried to come here about 25 years ago.
Probably not enough money in town for them.
They did.
What I heard was it would double our homeowners insurance rates.
Hmm.
Do you
That
remember when
might
they were
have
going
changed.
around?
Hmm?
Do you remember when they were going around? I mean, I
I-
think you and I are the only ones remembering those things anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't remember them. I wouldn't have even talked to him at the time because doubling the insurance rate.
I would love to have more of that background because that's something that we were scratching our heads of why they were turned away.
I think it was partially the cost to actually do the infrastructure was part of it, and I don't think there was enough interest in it because of the cost for people to put it in their homes to plummet it there.
Yeah, we have to add it.
Yeah. So
It was just not worthwhile. And there is a little bit of environmental danger.
Right now,
The fire. We don't have any fire danger. Crops. The fuel is only about this high. So even if Sam Sweeney's whole farm burst into flames, it's not gonna cause much damage. But if you bring natural gas in, there's a potential. I think that was part of it. But just the added cost, having to bring it into the city and then bring it into the individual homes, no.
For whatever reason, they're interested in re-engaging. So,
they're re-engaging because they're trying to push natural gas in as another mechanism to inform our homes. It's just another push because there's also good things about the natural gas too.
I love cooking with gas.
Yeah, I missed that when I moved up here from California. I went, I have to use electric, what the hell?
Curse my stove nightly.
Yes, I mean, once you cook on a gas stove, it's very different coming from gas to electric. Ooh.
a couple other items, I signed the MOU with Lafayette. Had some conversations with Newburgh Building and Department. I'm gonna continue those conversations about, modernizing our building fees. Right now, our general fund is subsidizing a lot of the building department, and the building department needs to be self-sustaining. Upcoming work plan. Mayor Frank, Council President Hildebrand, Finance Director and Tourism Director are meeting with the school district on the 9th. What questions do you have for me?
I always have one.
I know you do.
So this is somewhat adjacent to what was mentioned in here when it came to code enforcement. This reminded me of something I meant to bring up a little bit earlier. So when you mentioned noxious weeds in the code enforcement, something I've been seeing around town more and more common is the prevalence of horsetail weeds, which are incredibly invasive and they're as bad as bamboo to get rid of. So a great example of that is the corner of Barcelona Court and Sweeney. So that is an area that's pretty overrun. And it's progressing down Sweeney, and also there's areas of Joel Palmer that are like that. And it's one of those that it just I saw it when we first moved in 2021. It was this tiny little patch a little ways down Sweeney that's just started creeping up the neighborhood, and it's one of those that I mean you'd have to manage a space for weeks, months, and even years to get rid of it. So it's one of those that before it gets really pervasive, especially in city-owned, properties like parks and things like that.
What did you say?
It's a horsetail weed, so they.
Yeah, I know what you're talking.
Yeah, yeah, and so if you drive and like go out on a county road, you'll see them all along the roads. They're very, very invasive. So, it's just one thing I want to bring.
Oh, I wondered.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It used to be fun to break those up when we were kids.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
I've never heard them called weeds,
They're a weed.
cause up in Washington in some spots, they grow all over the place.
Yeah,
Cause it's,
they're weed.
no, because they also like the water and
Yes.
the.
I had somebody tell me one time a weed is only a flower in the wrong spot.
Oh, I like that.
And I know somebody who feels that same way.
I like that.
I actually like those horse cow things, so, but they do only belong in certain places.
I think if they didn't grow like so subterranean and they're so difficult to get rid of, it wouldn't be an issue. I think
I'd rather see the English ivy and the other stuff go way down the walking trail, but anyways. Okay, so we are done.
Well, we're gonna discuss the pool.
Well, we first have to end the
Oh,
regular
that's
meeting
right.
and
Yeah,
go
sorry.
into executive session, so.
Point of order.
So we'll go ahead and, move to adjourn.
Chrissy.
Have a good night. And our regular meeting at 8:38. And we'll begin at about 8:40 for our executive session.
Are we gonna meet in during the dawn?
Yeah, if you want to.
If everybody's leaving, you can just stay out here, right?
You people leave, just leave these on your desk.
Yes, please. Do you want to stay part of the meeting, Chris? With us for the executive meeting to go over the, manager review?
If I may, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately, I would recommend not doing executive sessions over Zoom. If you do them over Zoom, you have to let the meeting do it over Zoom.
It's all right. I can bow out.
Yes, oh, you poor guy. You get to get off the meeting. Right? Yeah. Once.
So, hey, Chris,
Yeah,
could we meet separately outside of the Zoom?
sure.
Just only because I don't. Yeah, I don't wanna leave it open